All right, let's dive into something pretty intense today. We're going to explore a source that looks at narcissistic abuse through a really different lens, one that connects the psychology of it all to the spiritual concept of demonic influence. Okay, let's get right into this provocative perspective.
So, right out of the gate, the source we're looking at makes this incredibly bold claim. It doesn't waste any time. It frames the entire issue not just as a personality disorder, but as a potential spiritual battleground. And really, this one sentence sets the stage for everything that follows.
And yeah, that's the big question, right? That's what this whole explainer is going to unpack. We're going to walk through the argument piece by piece to see exactly how this source builds its case, connecting behaviors we can see to a hidden spiritual cause it claims is behind it all.
Okay, so the first thing the source points out is that feeling you get, if you've ever experienced it, there's this nagging sense that you're dealing with more than just a difficult, selfish person. The source argues there's a very real reason it feels like something else is at play. And to illustrate this, it uses this really powerful metaphor of a house with a rotting foundation. Think about it. From the street, the house might look perfect, even beautiful. But underneath, the whole structure is compromised, built on deception, and just waiting to collapse. The point is, what you see on the surface, the behaviors, they're just the symptoms of a much deeper, hidden corruption.
So if there's this hidden corruption, how does it actually show up in the real world? Well, the source says there's a literal playbook of tactics that are used, and these aren't just for manipulation, they're for total and complete domination. First up in the playbook is love bombing. Now, according to this perspective, this isn't genuine affection. No, it's a calculated grooming process. It's this overwhelming flood of attention and praise right at the beginning, designed to get you hooked, fast, and create that emotional dependency before they pull the rug out from under you.
Next is something called emotional blackmail, which the source breaks down with this really memorable acronym, FOG. The idea is that these three feelings, fear, obligation, and guilt, are systematically used as weapons. They create fear of what they'll do, a false sense of obligation to them, and then heap on the guilt to make sure you do exactly what they want. And another tool in this playbook, stonewalling. Now, this isn't just someone saying, I need a minute. The source defines this as a weaponized silence. It's a cold, punishing rage meant to create so much anxiety that you're left scrambling, trying to figure out what you did wrong, desperate to do anything to make it stop.
All right, so we've talked about direct control tactics. Now we're going a layer deeper into what the source calls psychological warfare, the mind games specifically designed to completely distort your perception of reality. And the big one, of course, is gaslighting. The source really hammers home that this is a slow, methodical process. And here's the crucial part. The end goal isn't just to win an argument. It's to erode your trust in your own mind so completely that you become dependent on them for your reality check.
Then there's projection. And the argument here is actually pretty straightforward. Just listen. Listen really, really closely to what they're accusing you of. More often than not, it's a direct confession of what they are doing. It's a twisted way of offloading their own guilt and shame right onto you.
Triangulation is, wow, it's a particularly messy one. This is when they bring another person into the dynamic. Could be a real person, could be someone they just talk about. The goal is to create jealousy, insecurity, and competition. It puts them in the middle, letting them play the hero to one person and the victim to another, keeping them in control of the whole story. Okay, so after laying out this whole playbook, the control tactics, the mental warfare, the source finally connects all the dots. This is where it gets to its central thesis and explicitly links all these behaviors to its spiritual explanation. To build this spiritual bridge, the source points directly to Scripture. It uses this specific quote to draw a parallel. The argument being made is that the constant deception, the reality bending, it's not just a bad habit. It is the native language of a demonic influence, just as this verse describes.
And here's how the source breaks those parallels down. You've got the constant lying, which it connects directly to the description of Satan as the father of lies. It links the pattern of false accusations and blame shifting to Satan's title as the accuser. And that extreme pride and entitlement, that's paralleled with Satan's original sin, the desire to be like the Most High.
So here's the bottom line from this perspective. The source concludes that the consistency and the very nature of these behaviors, it's more than just a psychological problem. It claims that individuals who exhibit these traits are, knowingly or not, acting as pawns in a much larger, unseen spiritual conflict.
So if that's the diagnosis, what's the prescription? The final part of this source shifts focus to actionable advice. How do you defend yourself against what it describes as both a spiritual and a psychological assault?
Well, 4 key steps are recommended. First, trust your gut, your discernment. If something feels deeply wrong, it probably is. Second, keep a record. Write things down, not for them, but for you, to keep yourself grounded in reality. Third, find trustworthy, godly support, people who can give you an objective perspective. And finally, you have to set and enforce firm boundaries.
And this is where the source leaves us, with this one final, powerful question. It completely reframes the struggle. It's not just a disagreement with a person, but a battle for perception itself. It's a provocative thought, for sure, and it really captures the essence of this entire spiritual perspective on narcissism.